Good morning to you. I am Mark Sudduth, and here's what's up in the tropics. It is Monday, the 5th of September, 2022. Quite a busy look out there in the Atlantic now. We have Earl, we have Danielle, and a new area out here off the coast of Africa likely to be tagged as Invest Area 95L, probably later today. So yes, we went from nothing in August to quite a busy start here in September. And I think in terms of ACE score, that by the end of the week, we will be above average for seasonal ACE. Quite a turnaround here in the last several days. All right, so in the Eastern Pacific, we have Tropical Storm K, and this is going to be a problem for the Baja. Whether it makes landfall or not is not really going to matter. There will be impacts there. First, the swells will come out ahead of it. It's a very large system. I'll show you this on satellite in just a moment, and it will bring probably hurricane conditions to some of these areas, depending on how close it gets, of course, and maybe, just maybe, some rain and associated moisture, and maybe some flooding concerns for parts of Southern California and elsewhere in the southwest U.S. Here's what it looks like on the satellite animation. There's K in the East Pac, a very large system, so that's going to bring a lot of moisture, and again, that's going to impact everybody from Cabo all the way up to La Paz and areas north and west from there along the Baja Peninsula, even without a direct hit. Remember, the impacts are what matter, not just where the center of circulation does make landfall. Elsewhere over in the Atlantic, we have Earl there to the north of Puerto Rico, still a little bit disheveled, but it is gradually getting better organized, and once it finds more favorable conditions the farther north it tracks, I do believe it'll become a hurricane and eventually at least a Category 3 hurricane. Most of the guidance is suggesting quite favorable conditions over the northern Atlantic there over the coming days, and again, interest in Bermuda are going to want to watch this fairly closely as well. And then there's Danielle, way up there in the North Atlantic still. That is a hurricane, about 90-mile-per-hour winds currently. So looking at the GFS from the 6Z run this morning, this is about the 5,000-foot level of the atmosphere and what we call the vorticity signature. And you can see how well-developed Earl gets there, passing just to the south and east of Bermuda at about days 4 and 5. That's a long enough period of time out into the future that you're going to want to watch this very closely in Bermuda. And, any jog back to the west could bring potential higher impacts to the region. One of the impacts that Earl will bring to the U.S. and some of the other areas of the islands of the southwest Atlantic will be swells in the coming days that could lead to some rip currents and problems associated with that. I'll make sure I address that throughout the week ahead. In the Eastern Pacific, here's K, and this is also at about 5,000 feet in the atmosphere, but this shows you the wind in knots. And yeah, those purples are hurricane force winds, so only about 5,000 feet up, some of those hurricane force winds will brush the Baja, according to the GFS anyway. If this tracks a little bit more offshore, it goes without saying that those effects would be less. And of course, if it were to track closer, you might even bring the core inland, and you could really get some intense winds there. It just depends on how this evolves, the pattern, the steering pattern, over the coming days. But it is also very likely to bring a lot of moisture to the southwest. We're going to want to watch that closely as well. Maybe some high surf, too, for Southern California. I do think this is going to be a big newsmaker in the coming days, and I will address this and much more later this afternoon with my hurricane outlook and discussion. I'll be back for that several hours from now. As always, thanks for tuning in to What's Up in the Tropics. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth. I'll be back with you later today.